I'm here to discuss a few things. It's not gonna be a super happy, chappy time, but you know, we work with what we've got. With our Hassan Pikers, with our Anakasperians, and our GOPs, with our Polish and otherwise European farmers, brainless helpers of Russia. Amazing. What a beautiful time we've found ourselves in. Beautiful. Simply beautiful. We'll see if I'll receive any sort of reply to the email I've sent. I'll see. Okay. How is everybody today? Even though Vosh decided today on Lolly Hill, we must remember people like Hassan are still up. Yeah. Yeah, I would say that Hassan does more harm than Vosh. Maybe it's a hot take. I still think that Hassan does more harm with his rhetoric than Vosh with his lolly images. Sue me. Burn me on a stake. I feel like somehow what Hassan Piker says has a bit more weight. To his countless drones of supporters and viewers. Hassan Piker, the man that has chosen to be consistently wrong on Ukraine, no matter what. No matter what happens, no matter what changes, he just... We're not talking about Vosh. We don't talk about Vosh today. We're talking about Hassan Piker and Ukraine. And Poland, for that matter. Because Hassan Piker doesn't just hate Ukraine. Doesn't just have horrible takes on Ukraine. He also has horrible takes on Poland as well. Even though I have my criticisms of Poland, the handling of the border, but I don't think that's Hassan's criticism, that Polish farmers are just blocking the border senselessly and actually working, even if not in a huge amount, still working towards a Russian victory. What an embarrassment. And of course, the far right fascists from the Confederacy Party are so glad to attach themselves to that protest and to spew their anti-Ukrainian rhetoric. We might need to go to the border. We might need to make a trip to the border. But to do that, I might need to borrow some money. We'll see. Unless you donate, then I won't have to borrow money. I will see. Hassan chooses to die on Putin's lap. Well, we'll start it sort of softly from the Polish takes, which I will sort of comment on. And then we're gonna go to the Ukraine takes. And for that, we're not just gonna watch clips, we're just gonna watch the whole conversation that Hassan has had about the fall of Avdiivka and I think Navalny's assassination as well. It's not Hassan, but also a lot of non-tanky Western leftists either hate or at least have contempt and grudge against Ukraine and Central Eastern Europe. I mean, be it as it may, those people don't have near as much reach and influence as Hassan, so I'm just gonna focus on the person that actually has any influence in my criticisms, apart from the dozens of randos that just happen to sort of kind of hate Ukraine and Poland and other places. So what have we got here? What have we got here? Without further ado, we're gonna watch some clips from Hassan Piker. We're wasting time. His takes on Ukraine has been horrible from, not even from day one, from before day one, when he said that the invasion would never happen, and then that Russia is just taking back its territory, and many, many other statements that giving a voice to Ukrainian people is basically psychotic and perverted for some reason. And now, apparently for a few days now, Hasan Piker has also started hating on Poland. So we're gonna start with that. I think as a Polish Jewish person living in Poland, I am qualified to comment. Let me see. Should have prepared this beforehand. Sorry. It's been a pretty hectic day. Let's just say it's been a pretty hectic day. Where are you? There you go. I found him. It's from a Reddit. A clip from a Reddit. So first off, about NATO and Poland and the Baltic states. I don't think there's any broader context that could make it any better, but you know. Oh, that's what I'm hoping will happen, actually. That is actually what I'm hoping will happen, believe it or not. At least today, that is what I'm actually hoping will happen. We're gonna go to a memory lane a little bit, at least when it's I'm gonna go to a memory lane. A little bit of history, personal history even. It's not gonna be abstract history from books. No, it's gonna be personal history. You're gonna love it. I'm sure you're gonna like it. The yoink, I've taken away your rights. You can't have them back. Thank you for the $20. Today we're gonna do some nice retrospective to do a gentle reminder about the realities that sort of some of us had to go through, or our parents, grandparents, and what might have been the incentive at the end of the day to want to join structures such as the European Union, such as NATO. You know, we might do a little bit of like exploration into what might have incentivized places like Poland to join NATO. And to be happy to be in NATO, although things are getting a bit dicey even in that area, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get into it. How much is it to go to the border? Well, I actually need... Getting to the border itself is not that expensive, but I'm lacking the filming equipment that would make it worth for me to go to the border, unless I just go to the border, I don't know, make a video with my phone and then say, hello guys, I'm here with my phone. I mean, I could, if things go to, if it comes to it, I might have to. What I meant is by that is fact that not only Hassan but non-tankies like Chomsky Urban have a grudge against Eastern Europeans. I mean, Chomsky is a pretty wild guy. Let me just say it like that. Okay, let's go. Let's just watch the clips first. Let's see what happens. So this is a Reddit. I'm just gonna put it here. Put this here. Make this full screen. Oh my god. Chosen to make this full screen. This Hasan Piker thing. No. No, he couldn't. Okay. I appreciate the offer, but no, he couldn't. Okay. Let's watch. It's muted, of course. Ah, I didn't unmute the video. I'm so smart. I'll think about it. I'll consider it. Okay.
Why does he think their governments just want peace? Oh, you were joking. They don't.
What? Okay. Oh my god! I hate the interface. I hate the interface of these things. Okay. But yes, technique. I will consider it.
Never did any wars. Why does he think the government wants peace? No. I mean, if I'm a Baltic state, it certainly makes infinitely more sense. Especially if I close my eyes and think of it as like not a buffer state for the more important European states that are actually like the really important NATO allies. You know what I mean? If I close my eyes.
Okay. Nobody thinks about these topics in these terms. I'm a really important NATO ally. I don't know where Hassan gets this idea in his head that Polish people or any other Baltic state people think in terms of I'm really important. I'm a really important NATO ally when I close my eyes. No. Do you know what people from Poland or any other Baltic NATO state thinks? We think we're in NATO, so Russia's not gonna attack us. That is what we think. We don't think like we're special, super special allies. No, we just think NATO, at least on paper, protects us from countries like Russia. And we also, by extension, think if Ukraine had been in NATO, we would not be in this mess right now. That is what we think. We don't think in terms of how special, how wonderful, what a bliss to have this special status.
Eyes for a brief moment, and I'm Polish. I can imagine like NATO is
Polish. There you go. Mentioned. Poland mentioned. Sort of, but nobody in, let's be honest, nobody in Poland thinks about the NATO membership in terms of how important we are. We think of it in terms of how secure we are. That is the main consideration. Not how important we are, how secure we are. Because NATO is supposed to be a security guarantee, not an importance guarantee. And most countries, especially within the reach of Russia, know this. Always got the impression that Hassan thinks Eastern Europe are just frightened peasants that want to be powerful. I don't even know what he thinks about Eastern Europe. Like, he thinks that it's just a playground for Russia to take over.
It's actually there for me.
Like, there's gonna be a statement in the Ukraine bit that just blew my mind. I cannot believe how someone could be saying that without. You'll hear. No, don't worry. Like right now, we're just listening to a clip, but later we're gonna be listening to a full on thing, I guess. Wonderful. Oh bliss. Oh me, oh my, that's gonna be amazing.
And not simply protecting me on the boundaries of me being basically landmass between a more important state like Germany.
Well, that's all great. That is all great and all, but at the end of the day, from the perspective of a person that lives here, from the perspective of the person whose parents lived in constant fear of an invasion like this happening, like the one that's happening right now, possibly happening at any moment, yeah, I personally do not care, surprisingly enough. If Poland, for example, is just a buffer state between the more important quote unquote countries and Russia, because the security guarantee is still there. It's a trade off. Even if the trade off is you assume the status of a buffer place for the quote unquote more important countries, as long as there's this guarantee of should Russia attack you, it's a war against the entirety of NATO, that's fine. That's fine. Like the buffer status is not the most important status. The security status is. And I can understand that for someone who lives comfortably in the US, like Hassan Piker, it's very difficult to grasp. But again, Poland has been part of the Russian Empire. Poland has been a Soviet satellite. And Poland has been in a constant threat of invasion, especially when the Solidarity are formed. Like the Solidarity doing their protests and marches and strikes. Like it was always with this hanging aloof risk that the USSR might just invade and cut it all short. You know, like it did with Czechoslovakia, like it did with Hungary. And even after the USSR collapsed, there was still this looming threat of Russia being able to get back on its feet and trying again. Because countries don't just change overnight. It was very naive for the more Western countries to think that it would. That just because the Soviet Union fell, the aspirations fell with it. No, they did not, as evidenced by what Russia did after the fall of the Soviet Union. Georgia, Chechnya, and now Ukraine. There's even this great movie from... Where is this movie from? Can't recall. It's an old movie. It's called... What's the English title for this movie? One moment, I can't. What's the original title? The Search. Yeah, The Search. The Search, about a young boy that gets separated from his sister in the Chechen War. And literally, the big caption on the movie cover says, "Yesterday Chechnya, today Ukraine, and tomorrow dots." Like, even then, people during the Chechnya war, they knew that Russia's out to continue its thing. Yesterday it's Chechnya, today it's Ukraine, tomorrow, who knows what it's gonna be. God only knows. The Baltic states, Poland, it all used to be part of the Russian Empire. So it's all fair game. Russification almost succeeded in the Congress Kingdom before World War I. Do I need to remind everybody that? Okay, let's listen. Let's listen about the Polish people.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't know
if
what you mean.
Close my eyes, it feels like I'm actually important in the process, and not simply like an area to resupply forward operating bases. The reason
That's great. But first of all, I mean, that doesn't even make sense, because before Ukraine joins NATO, Poland is the frontline base. What other frontline base is there in Europe apart from Poland? Poland is the frontline base. Ukraine is not in NATO, so it cannot be a frontline base.
the reason why I have a lot of smoke for
What is the frontline base that Poland is supplying?
Poland recently is the Visegrad tweet, because like his tweet about the highway of death really fucking brought something in me, like a deep anger and resentment
Yeah, the whatever.
inside of me.
So a totally unrelated thing has also, hello, Faxilux. A totally unrelated thing has pushed you on a whole rant about Poland. Got it. Like a totally unrelated tweet. Got you on a whole rant about Poland being happy about being in NATO for made up reasons that you decided to tell us. Yeah, Visa. I know the Visegrad. I know the account. It actually gets some criticism from what I know. Like, again, for someone like Hassan Piker, it really is unfathomable. Unfathomable that I'm the first generation in Poland that didn't have to worry about a Soviet/Russian invasion non-stop. Visegrad? Yeah, I've heard criticisms. Visegrad, yeah, I've heard criticisms. Like, again, you have to remember, I don't even know if the viewers here know this, but the socialism/communism, the regime in Poland, it didn't end with some bloody revolution or bloody fight. It ended peacefully because the government decided that it didn't stand a chance. Because thank God, the Soviet Union at that point was actually not in the shape to invade. Oh, Visegrad. Okay, okay, got it, Visegrad. Okay, got it. Like in shoe, got it. So since the USSR was not in shape to actually invade, at the point where, like, sort of the government got into the talks with Solidarity, that meant that the government's hands were pretty much very tied, right? Limited, to say the least. And so they decided we will sit down and talk in an event called the Round Table Talks, and we will sort of do elections in which people will be basically able to actually decide if they still want us or if they want you, right? And the elections clearly decided that people didn't want the old regime. But first of all, till the very end, the regime still considered quelling, like shutting down Solidarity by force. Okay, that was like, I just received a new book about this with leaked documents, etc. The government still, to the very end, considered just shutting it down by force. Like, not doing the talks, not doing the negotiations, etc. But the big thing has always been the threat of a Soviet invasion. Like, like the Soviet Union, when it was in a better shape, sort of came hard on Hungary, came hard on Czechoslovakia. Like, Poland had in its mind all the time that a special operation might happen at any moment. At any point in time, a special operation might occur to sort of put the Poles in their place. And that is even what the regime feared. Like, some of the moves that the regime did, they said we did it because we feared that the Soviet Union might invade. That was also even the consideration of the regime that was, technically speaking, working under the Soviet Union, because they feared that if they cannot handle the Solidarity, the Soviet Union would look at them and say, hey, looks like you're not doing very well, so we just have to move in with the army and take charge, clean up this mess, right? And so, again, even after the fall of the Soviet Union, countries don't just change overnight without serious changes like the ones made to Germany. Like, just because the Soviet Union fell, it wouldn't automatically mean that Russia would be guaranteed to become docile. It would not mean that. So of course Poland would jump at the opportunity to join the European Union and NATO, because those, at least on paper, would guarantee that should Russia stand on its feet again, would not try to reclaim its satellites, and of course it did. Chechnya, again, Georgia, and now Ukraine. Again, like the movie slogan says, yesterday Chechnya, today Ukraine, tomorrow dots. The regimes always were afraid of the invasion, by the way. I confirmed this from Hungarian side that Poland in the 80s had to fear of invasion. That had been accounts of conscripts in the 80s who were ready for days for war invasion due to solidarity. Yeah, that is why in Poland the infamous, apparently that is the regime's excuse for it. That is why what's the term? Oh God, what's the term when you sort of introduce the warlike state? Martial law. That's why the martial law was introduced in Poland by the government, to sort of start cracking down on Solidarity members, to put them in jail, My father was put in jail at that time. My uncle was put in jail at that time, along with other pretty big solidarity figures. All that because the regime was afraid of an invasion. And then after a year, sort of, there was an amnesty for the prisoners. So my father, I think, spent only 1 year in prison or something. But the point is this. There has always been this looming threat of something like what's happening in Ukraine happening to Poland. And so, of course, again, European Union, NATO, it was a very obvious trajectory. Many politicians in the 90s ran their campaigns with one of the main things being like European Union and then NATO. Of course. And it won them votes. I know, because my father won an election like that. He was an elected parliament member. And one of his big slogans was a good integration into Europe, which meant entering the European Union.
Inside of my soul, just the notion of like masturbating to American imperialism as though you're part of the
So
team.
no, it's not masturbating to American imperialism and being part of the team. I'm gonna ignore some unrelated tweet from a problematic like X/Twitter account. The reality of the situation is a pragmatic security measure against being invaded. That's it.
Team dog. Yeah, no, definitely.
That's it.
Look at us. We got look at us. We got it, dude. We got it. We're
Yeah,
so
we got it. We're not gonna be invaded. Whoopee.
your Ottoman epigenetic memories activated. Well, that too. Okay.
Haha. What a joke. What a joke. Relative of the person that not so long ago denied the Armenian genocide and has a show called The Young Turks. How wonderful.
I don't discount that anger, but you've been shitting on Poland for days now. Okay, well.
That's it for the clip.
Remedy.
I'm not even sure what he says later then, but there's a second clip about Poland. So don't worry, we're not quite done with Poland yet. And then we're gonna head to Ukraine, you know, the current, because like insulting Poland is one thing. It's a really stupid argument about NATO and the incentives to be in NATO. But that's okay. Poland has a lot to be criticized about right now. The major thing being the whole border blockade thing. But Ukraine, the super consistent thing that Hassan has been wrong on from before day one of the invasion. He kept saying stubbornly that it would not happen. Okay, we're looking for clip number 2. This one apparently can just count as a joke, although I'm not in the mood for jokes from Hasan Piker, knowing his beliefs on different things.
That Russia and China have quietly infiltrated parts of our infrastructure systems. They haven't done anything with that. But
bro, the only country that unironically takes a fat W in all of this is Poland, because they don't know how to use computers. Like, there's only one computer in the country.
I guess I'm using the one computer in the country right now to stream for you. I'm taking up the only computer in Poland.
And many people don't even know how to use it. So therefore, they are so not susceptible to cyber warfare. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Crazy.
So who's the real winner in this global cyber war after all? That's right, Kurwa.
At least learn to say the word, please. Like, at least learn to pronounce the word. It's with a hard V. Bro on the Poland hate train lately. Rare Poland W, I saw it. Wait, for real?
Poland.
Stop. I'm using it right now.
They're probably there. At least that's what a lot of analysts and experts think. And that
True.
we have probably done the same to them. And that we're all just sitting there with our little time bombs put in.
Poland has one
No wonder you're the largest Polish transmitter then.
computer, and it's running at all times, and it's actually running to make the next CD Projekt Red video game.
To our enemy's castle in case we need to
No, it's running to make this stream happen.
use them. And we want
Also true. No wonder I'm the biggest one since I'm the only one with the computer.
our enemy to kind of know that we're there. There's this
that's
list that I've been looking at of
Super
all
cool.
of the cyber attacks. CSIS, the think tank that I used to work at, documents these. And I was surprised that I hadn't heard of almost any of them because they're small, but they're frequent. To me, this is the future of cyber warfare.
Wait, he worked at CSIS? Oh, God.
Oh god. Hello, Gabriel Cinemaging. Okay, I guess that's it. So we're done with Poland. We're gonna
That
go back
Russia
to
and China.
We're gonna go back to Poland, sort of. What did Poland ever do to Hassan? I mean, the same thing that Ukraine did. Nothing. Oh wait, I know. I actually have an answer to that. Ukraine existed as part of the Soviet Union. Poland existed as the Soviet, satellite state. Hello, Amara. But they were all ungrateful. They were also ungrateful about the paradise that the Soviet Union have, given to those countries. The wonderful heaven that the USSR has created for Ukraine via the Holodomor and many other wonderful things. The wonderful paradise that the Soviet Union has created for the Polish people via the special NKVD operation, which killed about 200,000 Polish people, via taking away reparations from Germany away from Poland, or forbidding Poland from taking advantage of the Marshall Plan, and then saying that actually the Soviet Union would sort of pay sort of reparations, but never did. How wonderful. How wonderful it is to be part of the Russian world, part of the Soviet world. It's the most amazing thing in the world. Only a fool would not take that deal. And that is basically what Poland and also Ukraine have done to Hassan. Those countries just couldn't appreciate the Marxism dream. The Marxist-Leninist dream. Apologies. Apologies. So let's go. Twitch. Okay, can I go to, there we go. Got the link. Wonderful. Wonderful. Hassan, Piker.